life, sex, goals, and oh, hell knows, this is Midlife Craving. My name is Adrienne Hollister, and I'm a swing-aholic. That's right, Cravers. The sex swing has taken hold, and I am hooked for life. You know I don't like to wait long for things, so let's get right into it. It's time for my 5-minute orgasm. My 5-minute orgasm is where I unload all of the recent events in my life. And honestly, I just want to say that I am really ready for life to return to normal. COVID just adds a whole extra layer of stress in life. And lately, I'm fucking sick of it. Literally and figuratively. Enough is enough. And I'm like screaming at the top of my lungs just to make it make sense anymore. I don't like to talk about this. You know, I talked about my experience with COVID when I got stuck in the Bahamas, but it's put so much strain on my girl and schooling, and it's just getting ridiculous. You can't even sneeze without having to rush and get a test, but there are no tests. Listen, I don't want to discuss this any further other than COVID can suck my dick and I'm over the shit. I've also recently just been struggling as a single mom. You know, everyone thinks I have it all put together, but the reality is that I've been living on a prayer lately, okay? Like John Bon Jovi style. Shout out to all my single parents out there who are holding it down because it is by far the hardest job in the world. And this week I had a little pity party for myself. You know, when it rains, it pours, and I don't know, lately it just feels like I've been suffocating at times. I have to be real careful about what I say here because there's ears on the other side of this microphone. But let me just say this. To those of you that think it's okay to pick and choose when you want to feel like being a parent, fuck you. All right, enough of that. That was my end rant, #end rant. Let's get this episode started. My guest today is Beth Miller, and she is a marriage coach. And our interview was so great and a lot of fun. But first, I want to answer your questions about the sex swing. I want to share the to-do list that Dr. B and I share together. And I have a new sex toy that I'm dying to tell you about. Woo, okay, ready, set, Lego. So my favorite thing to talk about right now in the world, my absolute favorite thing is the sex swing. So many of you have had questions, so let's get to it. All right, so the most popular questions I'm going to answer first. The first one is, how did you mount it? So I have a drop ceiling in my basement, and there's a joist in there, and Dr. B just took the pendant that it comes with and installed it in there. It literally took like 15 minutes. I would just make sure that it's somewhere very sturdy, a very stable place where you feel comfortable hanging all of your body weight on it. The next question that I get the most is there a weight limit? So the lock pendant that it comes with, that you install it with, has a 1,200 pound limit. And then the swing itself is 600. So I feel like that's a lot. And listen, when he first installed it, I made him get in it first, but I was a little nervous because it's putting a lot of trust in things, you know, but once you get in there, once you get used to it, you're so comfortable. Like I feel very secure, very comfortable. I absolutely love that swing. Next question is, was it awkward to use at first? To be honest, at first, it's really fun and it's fucking hot. So what we did is we were fully clothed because you have to adjust the straps to make sure, you know, all your little parts line up together. So it was almost like a version of dry humping for us because he's like thrusting himself into me to make sure that everything's all lined up. And so no, not awkward at all. And then it's such an easy thing to use, and you're weightless. So he can, you know, thrust into you and you're just like gently moving back and forth. Now, it's not like a swing like you think, like a swing at the playground. There's not a ton of motion. It actually works with you because as he's thrusting in and out, your momentum is coming back. So there was absolutely nothing awkward about it at all. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Another popular question is it better penetration? And oh my God, I think that's why I love it so much. So I've always thought of myself as a penetration girl. I like a lot of oral sex and a lot of penetration, domination in the bedroom, you know, and the penetration with that swing is, oh my God, it's so good. You can compare it to none other. the way that I'm able to put my feet in the like stirrups and then spread my legs, and I'm so comfortable doing it, and it's holding me at that position. So the penetration is very deep. It's very real. You can maneuver it and manipulate it to whatever you want it to be as well, but I love it to be lots of deep penetration. So absolutely, I love the penetration in that swing. In the bedroom, I usually like to be on the edge of the bed, my feet on his shoulders. I'm all about that deep penetration. I also really love prone position. Anyways, we're going off here, but the sex swing absolutely has incredible penetration. Another question is, do you need to wash it? Yes, I say wash. I'm from Baltimore. Yes, it's not that messy. I have wiped it down. So they have the butt strap, the back strap, the feet, stirrups that you put your feet in. I have cleaned the butt strap a few times because obviously some fluids get on there. I mean, oh my God, I remember this one time Dr. B and I were fucking on there and my pussy was literally dripping. It was like a fucking puddle. Okay. Like I was so turned on and so fucking ready. And it was just so much. So yes, like the butt strap was wet. I just used some of my sex toy cleaner on it, wiped it down. It's very easy to clean. I didn't look. I think you might be able to take off the fabric and throw it in the wash. But yeah, so I do clean it, of course. What is my favorite position in the swing? Hands down, by far. So I like to have my butt like on the edge of the butt strap. Sounds so crazy. I'm comfortably sitting with it like on the middle of my back and I can like put my arms above it. And then I like to have my feet in the straps, in the stirrups. We've tried it a couple times where my knees were in it or even my thighs, but I like my feet to be in it so I can like spread my legs the furthest and get that deep penetration that I'm after. And everyone's asked this, have you put Dr. B in it? Have you put Baywatch in it? And it's funny because I can answer yes to both of those now. I'm going to detail my sexcapades with Baywatch on the next episode, but Dr. B and Baywatch have both been in it. It's a great way for them to sit back, relax while I suck their dick. So I feel like for men, it would be great for oral sex. Actually, too, it's great for me to receive oral sex as well. But yeah, and they've both been very comfortable, perfectly fine. Someone asked, is the milking table jealous and over there just collecting dust? It has been. Dr. B, I know you're listening. We should break out the milking table again. We haven't, done all the things I think are possible with that thing. But yeah, so we haven't, since the sex swing has entered my life, Dr. B and I have been wearing it out. Mostly it's me. I want it. I gotta have it there. I'm addicted, like I said, to the sex swing. All right, so let's move on before I gotta check into rehab for that thing. Cravers, I want to share a tip with you. I have talked about it before, but I really, really recommend making a list, a to-do list with your partner. Seriously, it's such a great way to spice things up. And it's a great way to explore, learn, and enjoy, different types of play. I use the Notes app in my phone. And what's great is you can share it with your partner. So you can each make edits, you can cross things off, and it's a lot of fun. So I want to share what Dr. B and I have on our to-do list. So number 1 on our list was the sex swing. That's by far the biggest check that I feel like we've made. My favorite. We also have glory hole on there. And you know what? I need to explore. I really want to do that. I think it'd be a great way to get into things like foreplay using it. Maybe, Dr. B, I know you're listening. Maybe we can like install some drywall in like the unfinished area of my basement, cut a hole in it, and then go from there. I want to achieve that with you. Let's do that. The next one was suck dick on a ladder. I did that when he was installing the sex swing. That was like a little twofer. A slow, sensual fuck. Okay, I'm talking from beginning to end. And Dr. B, talking to you again, we need to work on that. I really want to try that like really slow, sensual fuck. I got the idea from this porn I was watching. My God, up close and personal fuck. I think it's what I Googled. I think I put like up close pussy or something like that. And there was this hot video, and I actually sent it to Dr. B, where he's just like slowly going in and out, and then he like finishes inside of her, and then he still like plays with her pussy a little bit afterward. And I want to do that right now. Like my clit just said, hello. All right. The next one is a lunchtime, no talking, quickie, almost like a rape fantasy that I have where I will walk into his house. He will push me and shove me up against the wall. He'll put his hands over my mouth. He'll yank my pants down just enough to get inside of me, fuck me hard from behind, fill my pussy up, and then send me out of the door. Absolutely, positively, no talking unless it's to say shh or be quiet or keep me quiet, stuff like that. Other than that, no talking, and then just send me on my way and I'll go back to work. Happy customer, indeed. The next one is fingering in public. And I'm so excited to say we checked that off the list. This is kind of a really fun story. And actually, what I was not expecting this at all. So Dr. B and I fucked all night. I think was it the night we installed the sex swing? No, it was later. I can't remember. It all blends together. But we went to the Mexican restaurant and we're having a good time. And he went to the bathroom and he came back and he sat on my side. And I was like, hi. And he just like scoots me over a little bit. And then his hand goes down my pants and he starts fingering me at the table. Now, Dr. B is very talented and amazing at fingering. And so I'm sitting there and I'm looking around and there's people everywhere and servers walking by. The tables are pretty high there and we were back in the corner, so nobody could tell, but he's like fingering me and I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting really turned on. My clit's throbbing. I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, Adrienne, you've got to stop showing. He's like, oh my God, like you got to act like nothing's going on. And I'm like, I can't help myself. It was so hot, so amazing. I didn't climax, but maybe we can make that happen next time. I can't imagine what that would be like, but maybe you know what? I'm going to revise this on my notes and make it to that fingering and finishing in public. The next one on my list is attend a lifestyle party. I want to, and then I have edge him. I want to edge him. I'm thinking in front of a mirror, jerking him off right when he's getting ready to come, tell him that he can't. I want to play like that. Another thing I want to do is I want to make him come with just my tongue. I don't know. I want to challenge myself and see if I can do it. Also, we have on the list is MFM, and I'm even down for FMF, MFM. But yeah, so both of those, very open to that. And then parallel play, I really want to knock that one out soon. I'm looking for that with him. And then role play, so we checked that one off the list. I dressed up as a nurse. I was his COVID nurse. And it was funny. I dressed up and then I made like a little video for him when he was on his way over. And I was sitting near the island in my kitchen and I was like, where are you? And then I panned the camera down and I was fingering myself and playing with my pussy. And he texted me back and he was like, Jesus Christ, Adrienne, I missed the turn. He's like, I'll be there in a minute. It was so fun and so cute and a lot of fun. And his first order was to go down on me. And to be honest, I kind of should have made the play last a little longer, but I was so hungry for his cock. I was like, let's get it on. All right, next is the remote vibrator. So I have the Lush 2. I'm going to put the app on his phone. Next time we spend some time together and we go somewhere, I want to use that vibrator and definitely want to come from it. So I'm excited about that. I love that the Lush is super quiet. There's a part that goes inside and stimulates your G-spot. And then there's a part that like lays right on your clit and it kind of like fits inside perfectly. So you can't really tell. Like I don't wear underwear. I'm in Lululemon leggings most of the time. But even with that, you can't see that it's there. So looking forward to trying that with you, Dr. B. Pop rock blowjob is on there. We marked that off the list. Do not recommend. It's gritty. It's sticky. It's messy. Not a big fan overall. But hey, we tried it. We also knocked off watching a movie and playing with each other and teasing each other and see who breaks first. And I won. I want to fuck him on my patio and I want to have a spank session. Dr. B, we got to get on that. So that's this, some of our list. I feel like we're always adding things. I feel like there's so much to do, so little time to do it. So looking forward to a lot of fun. All right, let's talk about one of my new favorite sex toys. I have named her Pearl. I got her from tracysdog.com. She is the juicy clitoral licking vibrator. Basically, she's Captain Morgan, but with a clit licker. So inside of the space where Captain would usually suck your clit, there's like this little curvy piece of plastic in there that like goes back and forth, soft plastic, by the way, that licks your clit. Okay, so it also comes with a remote. And at first I was a little intimidated because I'm like, wait a minute, Captain's so easy to use. I just press this button and press that button, and then it's like G-spot stimulation and then clit sucking. But Pearl comes with a remote. And I quickly realized when I tried her on, she really does mount to your pussy. Okay, so like you stick the G-spot stimulator part inside, and then you have the clit licker, directly on your clit. I actually like to use it a little bit higher. I like the top of my clit to be stimulated more, so I use it a little bit higher. And then it like mounts on. So the remote is really needed because if you're down there fiddling with the buttons, you're going to move things around. So my favorite way to use it is to sit on it. So the first time I used it, I was in the bed, and I feel like that's a great place to try it. And I was using the remote and playing with the settings. So I like it on the second setting for the G-spot stimulator, and then I like it on the third setting for the clit licker. I don't know why, but it's this like the pulsing that I really like. Pearl is such a good toy to use in tandem with another toy, I feel like. There's a lot of buildup with her. The first time I used it, I remember I sent Dr. B a video and I was like, I could barely talk. Like, I was like, oh my God, I was just so mind blown by what this toy was doing for me. And now that I've been using her a little bit more, I found different ways to work with her. In fact, before my interview with Beth, I was sitting here prepping and doing some notes, and I thought, what better time than to slap Pearl on? And I was sitting here just, on my stool with her and using the remote and playing with the different settings. And I was so turned on. And then I saw Rosie sitting on the desk just waiting for me. And so I finished with Rosie. I had an intense and very powerful orgasm. I have climaxed just from Pearl, and it's definitely very reminiscent of Rosie giving that step ladder, I call it, or the pyramid orgasm, just because there's a lot of edging and a lot of buildup with it. So my heart's like racing just thinking about that right now. But I love Pearl. She is beautiful. If you go to my Instagram page at Midlife Craving, you'll see photos of her there, and you can grab one for yourself over on tracysdog.com. And I reached out to them and I was like, hey, let me get a promo code for my listeners. So if you use code Adrian Hollister. I know that's like the worst code ever, but they wouldn't let me change it. So it's my full name, Adrian Hollister. You'll get 10% off. So let me know what you think about her. I'm loving her. I'm loving my time with her, and she's been a lot of fun to play with and explore. I love the toys over there. That's where Captain came from. It's funny. I just did a TikTok live session, and someone asked me, they said, if you had to pick one, only Captain or Pearl, which one would you pick? And I'm going to be honest, I would pick Captain for sure. He's my OG. He's my go-to. I used him 3 times yesterday. Okay. Like as Old Faithful, he is the best thing in the world. In fact, if I had to pick one vibrator to live with forever, oh God, hang on. I can't do that. I can't. I'm not going to think about that. But anyway, grab yourself Pearl. She's amazing. And I'm having a lot of fun with her. So let me know what you think about her as well. All right, Cravers, let's get over to my interview with Beth Miller. I had such a great time talking to her. But before I introduce her, I've got to give a shout out to my friend Ben. He's over on Tots Cast. His show is awesome and a lot of fun, and he is a great guy. And I actually want to dedicate this episode to him because without him, my interview with Beth would not have happened. He let me use his Riverside studio, and I was able to have her call in and record because I was having issues with my other Zoom recorder. So Ben, thank you. You're amazing. He said, Adrian, us podcasters, we got to stick together. And just know I will always be here for you as well. I am here with Beth Miller, and I am so excited to introduce her. Beth is a marriage coach, and she focuses on unblocking limited beliefs, unleashing your inner purpose, and up-leveling your relationship with clarity and confidence on your terms. I love all those verbs that you use. She also has a framework that I want to talk about today. It's 3 ways to save your marriage or relationship that I'm excited to learn. Beth is going to take some time to help me address some of the issues that I think I have when it comes to a relationship. And then we're going to wrap up with a little Q&A session. Many of you on my Instagram page have asked me questions for her, and she's here to answer. So Beth, welcome to Midlife Craving. I am so happy that you're here.
Adrienne, I'm so excited to be here.
Let's jump right into your 3 steps to save your marriage / relationship. I'm going to say that a lot. I have to tell you, one of the biggest reasons why I started my show is because as I was looking around the room at my friends and others in my life, we were all in these different stages. Some of us were getting a divorce. Most of us were in unhappy relationships. I had friends in sexless marriages. I had friends that were just getting out and starting to date again. I knew people having affairs. And, I thought to myself, no one talks about these things. It's just keep living in your cycle. And I don't know, I felt like when I was struggling in my marriage and then again in another relationship, it was like I didn't really know where to go or how to do the work to make it better. And it's just a very lost place to be,
Totally get it. Absolutely.
And so one of the things that I like that you say is you're not alone. And I tell a lot of my cravers that. In fact, most of my DMs are just stating, you're not alone in this. And you say things like, drifting apart happens even in the best of relationships. And, reconnecting may feel like a huge mountain. And man, I felt like that in my marriage and in my last serious relationship. I love the way you address that.
Yes. Like when it comes down to it, 20% of couples are happy. That means 80% aren't happy. And that's on like a scale of like kind of miserable to all the way miserable. So there's a lot of unhappy people out there.
That's a really big number. Wow. Okay. So let's get into it. So step 1, challenge every belief in your relationship. So I'll let you take it.
All right. Yeah, exactly like you said. Challenge every belief in your relationship. And that sounds a bit boring. Like, what do you mean I have to challenge every belief? But a belief looks like this. It could be my partner does not appreciate me. Like, I just wish they would compliment me more. Why do they not compliment me? Why do they not give me more hugs and cuddles and sit next to me? So that's a belief. I believe that my partner doesn't appreciate me. Or this is a big one. My partner's cheating on me. So maybe there's some past like infidelity, even if it was just emotional infidelity, where your partner was like liking girls on social media or getting like kind of controversial texts from coworkers. So there's been maybe a past of some sort of infidelity or trust. And now every time you see them go to the bathroom with their phone, you're like, what are they up to? And you have these obsessive thoughts over, are they cheating again? So we need to challenge these beliefs. Other ones could be like, my partner's really lazy. They just sit on the couch at 7:30 and I need to get the kids to bed, yet he's still, or she is still sitting on the couch. So what we need to do here is take all these beliefs. And sometimes you don't even realize you're saying them because you've been saying them for so long. So we have to take these beliefs and just really pause and be like, is that actually true? What proof is there that this is actually happening? And yes, they are sitting on the couch, but are they really lazy? What are they doing that's not lazy? So step 1 is really to challenge these beliefs and figure out is it 100% true or just like partially true?
I love the statement that feelings are not facts. I've said that before, and it's funny, as you're mentioning these things, I'm like, oh God, that sounds familiar. Like, why are you laying on the couch? I used to say to my ex-boyfriend all the time, Prince Charming, I would say, if you don't see me relaxing, I don't feel like you should be relaxing. Like, that's a huge one for me. And I never did stop and think, am I reading too much into this? So it's tough when you're in the moment of it.
For sure. And it's so hard when you are, like you said, in the moment. And that could be like in anger, that could be in frustration, that could just be in sadness. Like you're just like sucked back into your story. Like, what is your marriage or your relationship story? Is it that I am miserable and my relationship sucks? Why did I ever get married to this person? Like, is that your story? And is that the story you want to keep telling yourself? Or is it that you do want to make things work? So we can talk about this in a bit, but we got to shift that belief and figure out what is really true. And am I in a miserable relationship, or are there some good things that I can then take my focus to that? And it really is about inner work. Like, you really just got to go inward. This isn't a discussion you need to have with your partner at this point. It's just like, what am I believing? What energy am I bringing to this?
Yeah, it's so true. I was just going to say, this sounds like a very solo job for yourself, as you're working with day in, day out with your partner. Man, but and this is the hardest work of all is, on your internal self. So, okay. So let's say I'm cooking dinner, running around the house, running circles around him, and he's laying on the couch being lazy. Like, what do I do to stop and think, well, he does work really hard, or he did help me do, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's hard to get out of that mental space when you're pissed off.
Oh, for sure. You got to figure out, like, why do I think he's lazy? Like, is it just because he's lying on the couch and he just wants to relax after work? Like, why is that bad? Like, did you grow up in a household where you saw your mom and dad busting it all day, every day? Like, they never sat on the couch. So you grew up in a household where lying on the couch is lazy. We need to be productive when we have a to-do list. And you have to go check, 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 check. So a lot of times it comes from our like modeling from our families from the past. It comes from our own like drive. Like, did I get a lot of praise as a kid because I did really well in school and I did all these things? And that's where I get like satisfaction, or that's where I feel like I'm worthy. So you got to look at your own like inner child. That's what we call it, your inner child, and figure out like, where did this belief come from that I think he's lazy? So it's really becoming a detective, and it sounds like, oh, do I have to do that? But if you want to get out of this stuck rut of being in an unhappy marriage or relationship, really you got to do this work. Otherwise you're just going to end up in divorce, and you know what's going to happen? That same belief is going to follow you into your next relationship. And then again, you're going to see a partner who's really lazy or doesn't appreciate you, or who's possibly cheating on you, even though they're not, because you have trust issues.
So step one is challenging your beliefs and really taking a good look in the mirror of why you feel a certain way.
Absolutely.
Okay. You ready to move on to step two?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Okay, so step two is identify all your triggers. I get triggered by that word trigger. But, you know, let's talk about that. So, because this is touchy for me too. So let's go.
So triggers, just for those who don't know, a trigger is anytime you feel this like unwanted emotion, like a heavy, dense emotion. Like, I'm so angry, I'm jealous, I'm frustrated, I'm overwhelmed, I'm extremely sad. Anytime an unwanted emotion comes up, you can actually be triggered to be happy too. Like, they bring you flowers, or you get to go on this amazing trip. That's a happy trigger. But I'm talking those like unwanted, dense ones that make you want to fight back, put up those walls. So we need to identify every trigger. And again, this is that, like, it's hard work to save a marriage. It really is. Like, this isn't easy. There's no magic pill that you take. You really got to go inward. So right now we've recognized those beliefs, like, my partner is cheating. Now we got to figure out what emotion comes along with that thought. I'm feeling really jealous right now. I'm feeling really like insecure right now. So what is the emotion that's coming up? And this is that massive clue into that inner work that you need to do. This isn't about your partner. It isn't about your partner being lazy. This isn't about your partner possibly cheating with his phone or her phone in the bathroom. It's about you and your own insecurities and getting to a place where you can trust. So it's so important that we look at what emotions being triggered within us. But the crazy thing is, our partners, they know our buttons. They know how to push our buttons, which is pushing someone's button is triggering them, right? So looking at some, like, hearing your partner's tone or seeing their face, they can just make a face and roll their eyes, and all of a sudden, like, it's time, it's go time.
You're
like,
triggered.
Yeah, totally. So it's amazing how easily our partners can trigger us. And there's this amazing thing. They really say, like, we marry or we get together with someone because they feel like our better half, or they feel like they complete us. You don't want anyone to complete you, because if they're completing you, it means you're broken, or you're not broken, but you know what I mean? Like, you have some issues. You want to come into a relationship whole. So when you're triggered, it's showing you there's areas within me that I need to work on within myself. This isn't about my partner, like leaving the crumbs on the counter, me having to pick up their laundry. There's something about me that I need to identify as a perfectionist tendencies. And I'm not saying here at all that what your partner does is right, but you're being triggered, and that's an emotion that shouldn't be coming up per se. And I don't want to should you, like, guilt you shouldn't feel sad or angry. You can feel that for a moment, but you got to realize, you know what, this is a hint as to inner work I need to do.
This sounds like it's all looking at me.
It is.
I'm a fan of this
This
stuff.
is your fault. No, you are. You're like in a marriage or relationship. You're 50% of probably the problem, maybe not quite 50% even. But you're also 50% of the solution. Like, if it is infidelity, then it's really like it probably was on your partner. That's not you. That's like 100% them.
Right.
But you could be 50% of that solution, 100%. And we'll get to some more like details of why you're part of that solution in a minute.
It's really controlling your reactions. It's being responding, not reacting. I like to say that a lot too. So I feel like step two is all about, you know, responding to something and addressing it healthy, but not reacting, because that's when things get bad.
Definitely. And the thing is, like, we go, like, a lot of the women I work with, their partners are not on board. They're like, I don't need to go to therapy. I don't want to dish out our problems to someone else who's probably going to side with you. I don't want to do that. So a lot of the women I work with, they're in a pretty hopeless place. So, like, my partner won't change. I'm not happy. Like, is divorce our only option? I was like, no, it's not. We can fix this. And a lot of it comes from like a place of like really realizing what you don't like about your partner. What is it that you don't like about it? And how much is that your own like perception of who they are? Like they're mirroring something to you with, just say this, you have a fight with your partner about money. Like I went to Costco and I spent $500 and I really was only supposed to spend $300. And what happens is all of a sudden we get in this fight about money. Really, it's my own insecurities about being controlled because he's not appreciating me for going to Costco. Well, he's got a lack mentality mindset, like he doesn't want to spend money. So when you can look at each other's, like I call them shadows, it's the parts about us that we hide from others. When you can look at each other's shadows and realize, you know what, we both have some work to do.
Yeah. Ooh. Step 2 is a lot of inner work as well, I feel like. All right, so let's move to step 3, which is do a relationship checkup. I'll let you mention these things. I think a lot of them are really good.
Yeah. So when you do a relationship checkup, it's really like, how are you showing up in your relationship? And again, it sounds so boring, but this is like so much work that you have to do. Like, who are you and who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person who's like denying your partner and saying, no, I have a headache. I don't want to do anything. Or do you want to be the person who's like owning her, be like, yeah, let's do this. Like, who are you showing up in this relationship with? And what, yeah, are you exhausted and overwhelmed? Are you showing up as this like high vibe self, that version of you that first met your partner? Is that the version you want to show up with? So we can't rely on our partners changing. That we can't do. But what happens is when we start to change our energy, like instead of being like Debbie Downer throughout the house, and I'm not saying that's what we are, but when you're worrying and when you're obsessing, your energy is really low. Like if you bring your energy up, like who doesn't want to hang out with someone fun and bring that vibe up too? So it's amazing how you show up. If you show up from a place of like, I feel good, your partner is too. And you're going to create that emotional intimacy again and physical intimacy that maybe you didn't have before, just because you're letting go of some of that baggage that you had before.
You know, I swear on, vibes, and the vibrations that you put out are the vibrations that you're getting back in. So that's a big deal. If you come home from work and you're already pissed off and you come in the door like that, immediately your partner's going to go on the defense, Been there, done that many times.
Oh, I know. Like we are our own worst enemy when it comes to our like relationships. Yep. Like we're part of that problem. Like you're destructive in it. Like you can change this. You have the power. Like 100% it's within you. If you want a better marriage, you can make it better. Just stop blaming your partner for all the problems. You can regain trust. You can, like, even if you're still like your spidey senses are like, maybe he's still cheating. But when you do that inner work, you'll get to a place where you truly trust. You're like, you know what? Enough is enough. I deserve better than someone who's going to be sneaky with their phone and really won't follow the boundaries that we place. And I have so much confidence and worth and deservingness that I deserve a better partner. Then you can leave the relationship. But until you get those trust issues in order, leaving, you're still not going to trust your next partner, even though they're not cheating. But if they're just on their phone scrolling, you'll be like, what are they doing? So it's so important that you use your partner, even if you're not going to stay and do all your inner work so that that stuff doesn't follow you to your next relationship.
We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I absolutely loved what you said. Quit blaming your partner for everything going wrong in your relationship because you're 50% of the problem, So true. And I'm thinking, I know many couples that are unhappy, and when I'm really thinking about them and looking into what's going on, they're both just like pointing the finger, and that's a big statement to make.
Definitely. Sure. I used to do it all the time with my partner. I would say to my husband, if you would only talk nicer to me. But really, I didn't like the yelling or shouting, but he's just a passionate man. And that's why that's why I loved him, because he was confident. He spoke his opinion. I'm like, he can talk for me. I don't have to speak my opinion. But as I came into myself, I was like, yeah, I have opinions. I'm like, I don't like your opinions anymore. And we would, such conflict because I just didn't like what he was saying. I didn't like the words he used. I didn't like the tone he used, and it would just trigger me. But now I can sit back and just let him go and just listen to him because he needs to vent. That's his style. So when you can get your own stuff in order, you're not triggered by what they say anymore. You can see them for who they are. I can see his little wounded bits too, whether he wants to fix them or not. Yeah. I can see his inner child wounds.
So I love what you say is remember what you first loved about them. And then let's talk about your actions for step 3, because there's a really good one. And, when, where, and who do you complain about your partner
to? That's such a good one.
It is, because when I was miserable in my marriage and when I was struggling with Prince Charming, I consumed myself with it. All of my friends heard about it. All of my family heard about it. And then my whole world became how unhappy I was. And so then I was unhappy, So that's a big thing. Like who, when, where, and who are you complaining to?
Yeah.
Think about
that.
So
true.
Because that consumes you.
It does. And you can talk to people about your troubles. You definitely can. Just know that when you tell someone like things aren't good or my partner did this, they only hear that one day, and that's going to stick with them. They'll be like, but he treated you like this, or he did this to you, or she, and that stays with them. So you got to be careful what you share. And when you do share, you don't want it to come from an energy of complaining all the time. It has to be solution based. You know what? I said this today and I'm not going to repeat it tomorrow. I'm going to do this better, or I'm going to leave because I deserve better. The complaining piece, like it's just exhausting. I call them like energy suckers. I don't hang out with people like that anymore because it's just exhausting to listen to them complain. But yeah, the other piece of that too is, why are you talking to them? Is it because they're going to validate you and tell you you're right and you just need that little boost right now because you possibly don't believe that, you know what's happening is, yeah, that it's not your fault. So sometimes that happens too, where you just want them to validate you.
Oh my God, Beth, I should have, I'm going to send a formal apology to Katina, several of my friends in 2021, because I did that and I do that. So I need to hear this conversation a year ago, but I've gotten there and I'm growing and moving on. So I hope, I know that what we're saying will help others out there. So
definitely.
All right. I love this one too. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to save your marriage?
I ask every client I work with before I work with them, because I don't want to work with you if you're not a 10, but if you're not a 10, why are you not a 10? Like, why do you not want to save your marriage? I meet a lot of women in the 5s. I really do, where they have one foot out the door, one in, because they're just so confused. They're so hopeless. They're like, nothing's going to change. So I don't really know. I want to stay for my kids. I want our kids to have a mom and a dad, but I'm tired of living with a slob. I'm tired of living with someone who's like shut me out emotionally and physically in terms of intimacy. So it's really important to ask yourself that, like, where are you on that scale? And what's going to tip, if you're 5, like what's tipping you left or right? What is going to get you there?
Yeah. That's a gut check. You know what I mean? Like, where am I?
Yeah. And then be careful too with it too, because again, if you're one foot out the door because you want to run from your problems, possibly, that's another reason to go to the other side and head towards the 10 and work on it. I really encourage all the women I work with, don't leave a marriage unless it's like abusive. Unless there's like complete boundaries being crossed, because there's still like, it will follow you. It will follow you. We can see it from like dating relationships when we're younger. That stuff follows you to the next one. So it's so important. You're almost using your partner. I don't like to use the word use, but they are showing you what you need to improve within you. A lot of our inner child, like our shit from childhood, it comes back up in like a magnifying glass in our romantic relationship. So a lot of times you get to heal all that like shame that you have or guilt you have, and just that insecurity like with your current relationship.
The last year I've been on one hell of a journey, and I love how you keep reiterating, it's looking within and fixing yourself, because it's so true. If I don't heal right now and do the things that I need to do, it's going to carry over to my next relationship. And my last relationship I thought was forever. That's why I coined him Prince Charming, but there were issues that he personally couldn't overcome. And so I had to leave. And it was the right move to make, but it was still really heartbreaking. But I'm now doing the work to see in myself as well. Cause like, you're never perfect, So I love how you keep saying that, because I don't want to bring this into my next relationship one day.
But then you got to watch this too. Is it fear that's keeping you from another relationship too? You got to figure out what emotions are there. Am I here just because I want to work on myself, or am I scared to go to that next relationship because it might all come back up again?
So this segues perfectly into, let's talk about my personal questions that I have for you. I'm like, for real, like I have the wall of China built between me and another man. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I really do. I feel like I'm not open to receive anything right now. And being vulnerable is the last thing on this earth that I want to be around someone, especially a love interest. And I don't know how to get started to fix that. Maybe time, and I'm doing the work, but how do you start to let those walls down?
Okay, so why are the walls up? I always ask why. Why are those walls up?
I think with, God, I feel like I'm in a therapy session.
It will feel like
sharing
that.
with the world, but that's okay. Prince Charming hurt me bad. He did. My marriage was I was happy to get out of that, and that was great. But Prince Charming, he hurt me bad, and I invested everything in him, and sometimes I feel like it was a waste and that I regret it. I don't like to put his business in the streets, but I did have to leave. And I don't know. I feel like I trusted him so much, and it wasn't cheating. There was nothing like that, but I just invested and trusted him so much, put everything into him. And for what? You know what I mean? Now look at me.
Yeah. And when you say for what does that mean?
Like, why did I put all that energy and effort into him? It was a waste.
A waste of,
Isn't that terrible that I feel that way? A waste of time.
And yeah, then I would just say, like, why is it a waste of time? Like, did you not learn anything from it? Were you like, what made it such a waste of time? And I know you want to be careful not to air his dirty laundry or your dirty laundry.
I know. Yeah. I mean, you're right. And in fact, one of my favorite things is says you did not waste your love. It was a learning experience for me, and I'm way stronger and much better off for it. I am, and I'll make better decisions in the future. And I feel like I have leveled up as far as, picking future partners, and I've learned a lot, because I think one of the mistakes I made with him is I jumped in with both feet and I ignored red flags. So now my eyes are open, and I'm going to dip my toe before I do anything else. So it's not like I regret it. I don't know. I feel like, oh God, do I really want to let somebody else in again? What are they going to do? What's this one going to be? A wife beater? Is he going to have heads in his basement? Like, what? What's next?
But you're at a place though, like if you do go in, even if you went in both feet in, what's the worst that is going to happen? If it's that you're worried about wasting your time, then that's something inner work that you need to do. Because I'm wondering, like, you've probably been a very productive person most of your life, and maybe in your past you felt like you've wasted your time too, and you're like, I don't want to waste any more time. I don't want to do this. So I would just really ask yourself, like, what is it about this? It's a waste.
All right, I'll work on I'll work on that. But then the other thing I want to say, and I know I have a couple of friends that operate like me, and we'll say to each other all the time, like, nobody operates like us. We run circles around people, and nobody works as hard as me, gives as much energy and has as much output as I do in the world. And I find myself resenting my partners that I've been with long term. It's hard to admit this, but I do also feel like men that I've been with, they feel like I emasculate them. Because I am. And that's one of the things I'm hard to live with, because I'm go, 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 go all the time. I expect the same amount of output from them as I do myself. So I guess I need to look in at myself as well and figure out why I always did that. And not everyone operates like me.
Yeah. And what,
but that's
and
an
what
issue.
would you say those emasculating, what kind of things are you doing to emasculate them? Like, what would they say? Like, Adrian, you need to stop doing this. What would they ask you to stop?
From doing chores to making money to hustling my ass off, like this weekend, I'm going to get in my attic and fix a vent. I'm going to be rerouting receptacles in the walls and stuff. Like, I'm always just doing all these things. And, I'm always like, I'm not going to depend on anybody. I'll depend on myself. I don't let myself down. That's a very negative way to be. I don't ask for help. And then I get pissed at them for not helping me.
Okay, so two things. It's both of you, for sure. Like, maybe they're just really insecure to have someone that, like, maybe they grew up in a household where mom really did certain tasks, dad did certain tasks. So now that they're with you, they're like, my power's being taken away. I feel like almost embarrassed and ashamed that Adrian's doing this, and this, when really I should be doing that as the man in the house. So part of it could be their own insecurities that they're projecting onto you. And you're like, I love this shit. This is what I want to do. And then part of you might be shaming them a little bit for not keeping up. And sometimes, this might not be always, sometimes we're running from things. And that's why we're so busy, because we don't want to just get still and be with our own thoughts, because they're really uncomfortable.
That's me.
Perfect. So there's some work to do. I would say you need to meditate. You need to get still, journal, and meditate, and get all those thoughts that are in there so you can work on those.
Everyone says that to me, and I'm like, oh God, like... sit still. I don't know what that means, but you're right. And see, there I go. I need to do stuff like that. I really, really do.
Yeah, absolutely. Figure out what's going on in there. If you're running from something, if you're not running, that's great. I used to. I really was. I'd get bored. I didn't want to be with my own thoughts, but I realized what was there. Sometimes I would just all of a sudden just start to cry. I'm like, oh, I was holding on to a lot from that day. Like, I didn't realize how stressed I was, and it would just all come out at the end of the day when I was really tired. I'm like, oh, I should probably deal with that stuff more.
I do have this like cycle. I'll reach like these breaking points, and I'm sure a lot of my cravers can relate to this. So I'll just have like these like once every 2 weeks where I'm like, I can't talk to anybody. I have to shut the world out. I have to literally like shut down. And then people are like, are you okay? What's wrong? And So I do. I reach these like points where it's been too much. So I think if I found some balance in between, I would be better
I think
off.
you need to meditate.
All right. Well, that's
Adrian,
what I got to work
promise
on.
me, you're going to try a meditation.
Oh, God. How long do I have to do it for?
Really? Like, start with 2 minutes. You know what? Just get still for 2 minutes and feel your body and what it feels like and be like, oh, there is some anger on my chest, or, ooh, my gut does feel a little heavy.
Does masturbation count as that?
I think that's kind of like exercise. Like, it's an energy release, but I want you to get like not physical with your body and energy release. I want you to get like mental release. So they work well together.
Okay.
Maybe meditate while masturbating. Is that possible?
Okay, I could try. You know, what's funny is I was drinking beers on the treadmill the other night, and I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
When I had like my little breakdown, I was like on the treadmill just chugging Bud Lights. Like, I mean, that looks crazy. My neighbors are probably like, what the fuck? But I don't know. So I'm a physical release girl. Orgasms, gym, that's my way to cope. So okay. See, I'm learning, and I'm going to write that down, work on it. All right. So enough about me. Let's get to my questions from my cravers. All right. So the first one is, what are sure signs that a marriage/relationship is over?
Okay. I mentioned this earlier. If there's abuse or like hard boundaries that have been crossed, like where maybe they've slandered you or they've said super inappropriate things that just are not right. So that would be a sure sign. Other signs, really, there's not much else there. Like I said earlier, like you should really stick it out to figure out like what are you bringing to this marriage that is making it suffer? So I would really suggest do some of that inner work, like really check your beliefs. Like, is my marriage actually this bad? Or do I just tell myself it's that bad? So just finding the evidence, like write out everything you hate about your partner. Like I do this with my clients too. I'm like, write everything. Like, I hate you because, I hate you because, I hate you because. Write it all out. And eventually you'll run out of things to write. And then go back and be like, is this actually true? Do I really hate you? And do I hate my marriage? And hate's a really strong word if you don't want to use that word, but I like it. I think it's strong and it gets the emotion out.
You know, the abuse thing, I also think addictions, people that have addictive behaviors, that's a big thing. Anything that puts you in a dangerous situation or where children are involved, I agree. That is definitely that's over. That's an end game for me. All right, so this is a fun one, and I'm excited to hear what you think because I know what mine would be. But what is your best idea for a date night?
Mine's so boring. I think COVID's really like de-spiced it. But yeah, you know what? I feel like you do takeout and a hike. Like it's so boring. Or a bottle of wine to the beach. Like I'm in Canada and things have been super locked down here, so we can't really go places as much. But like you said, like just cuddling and Netflix and just stuff that
Look what's coming out right now. So you are saying like the intimate, like the mental, connection. And I'm like, sex swing. That's the perfect date for me. Like, what the fuck? I need to work on that because I don't like letting people in. So I'm like, that's my ideal of a perfect date is like sex swing, beers, and a dive bar, and then back to the sex swing. So
that has its place. That has its place 100%. Yeah. So maybe we need a bit of a balance between the two of us.
There you go. Okay, so here's a really great question, and I love this. Do you ever suggest a couple to take a break?
Rarely would I suggest this. I have 2 clients right now who are. One's super successful with it, the other one not. And the reason why, when we take a break, usually that means like separation or just moving out, going to different houses. And when you move physically away from each other, like you're just creating more distance. And then a lot of times, if there's already mistrust, because that's a lot of times like when there's been infidelity, when one partner's cheated, that's when you leave. You're like, get out of my house. I can't stand you. And they'll go somewhere else. And that just fuels mistrust because you can't keep an eye on them. But at the same time, sometimes that's good because then you can deal with your own kind of trust issues so that you can get grounded and learn to trust your own intuition, because so much of trust, you can't trust your partner until you can really trust your own intuition. And when I say intuition, that's the little messages that are coming in, those little thoughts being like, just, when you can start to trust those. So it could work, but really often it doesn't. Usually it just creates more distance. So I would say no. I would say try and stick it out as much as you can. Separate bedrooms if you have to, or just setting hard boundaries, being like, this is my time. I don't want to see you right now. But I'd say no. I'd say try to stay in the same household.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, here's a fun question. What's the average amount of sex that a couple has a week?
I had to Google this one because I didn't have the numbers off the top of my head. This is fun. I should give you the chart so you can put it on Instagram. But what's fascinating is like 20-year-olds, a lot, like twice a week is kind of their average. But when you get into 30,
that's a lot.
So like for the average, we're talking average, Adrian. Are you average?
Oh, averages. Okay. No. Twice a week. I'm like, something wrong.
Twice a week. Isn't that
All right,
shocking?
go ahead.
Some people will be like, twice a week. I only have it
I
twice
know,
a
my
year. Because that's
God.
actually a stat too. I can get into that one in a like
Oh my.
6% of 30-year-olds like don't even have it in a year. A whole year.
It's because they're having kids and
But even
shit.
if you
That's
have
why.
kids,
But fuck that.
you need some time together.
Beth, that's a reason for my relationship to be over.
No,
Sorry.
exactly. Like that's loveless in terms of physical intimacy, right? Like you need
Yeah.
physical and emotional.
Yeah.
So maybe you work a little bit more on the emotional stuff, and then these people need to work more on the physical. But okay, so yeah, back to the stats. So 20s are like twice a week, Adrian. I know that's not enough. It really declines in the 30s, like maybe once a week on average. But then things ramp back up in the 40s, and you're back to like weekly. So like 46% of 40-year-olds are having sex weekly for sure. So half of you see a 40-year-old, two of them together, one of them is getting it weekly.
Wow. I mean, weekly I don't know. For me, I mean, I can see on the average like that's good. But once a week for me is definitely I know my cravers want to know. For me, I would say like sex 5 to 6 times a week at least, oral 3 to 4, and then other types of play twice a week. So that's that would be a baseline.
How do you sleep? How do you sleep, Adrian? I bet you had a good, and you go to the gym. You go to the gym and you do all that.
Yeah. I'm a very physical.
There's no time for meditation.
Girl, listen, I had to have an orgasm before I started this recording because it's been a while and I was like, I got to get this in. So it just makes me feel better. It like brings me back to my baseline. I'm feeling good. Like this morning I was raging, chewing bark off a tree, but I'm much better now.
That's common for sure. Absolutely. It's an energy release. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, all right, so let's go to the next one. Or you have more stats? You have more stats?
You know what? That's for like, you know what? Okay. Yes, 16% of the 30-year-olds. Like again, like we said, 6% aren't having sex in the 30 category, but then in the 40s, 16 aren't. So you're either doing it once a week or you're not at all. Like 16% not at all, 49% all the time. Wow. So something's happening there.
I'm telling you that number dips because of kids. People are raising kids. You know what I mean? It's hard to get it in, so I can understand
kids co-sleeping, hanging out in your bed. But then you just have to get creative, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're still having more kids, so something's happening.
I know. I've shared stories about like having sex in the bathroom or, down here in this closet. Like, I mean, wherever you can get it in because it's tough sometimes. I got to turn on the TV, turn on the shower, turn on the faucets, and turn the fan on. And then I'm like, all right, let's go.
Oh my gosh, things you have to do as a mom.
I know. Oh, God. They're cramping your style, let me tell you. All right. So I loved this question. I'm interested to hear what you say. What are the benefits of getting married versus dating indefinitely?
I don't think there are any benefits or disadvantages unless you want to talk like finances and your taxes. Really, like when it comes to like an emotional level, like really, what is your wedding day? It's a party is what it is. Like you say some vows, you put on a ring, but really, what does that mean? Like as society, we think that really means commitment, and sure, that rings a circle and it means forever, but really does it? It's something physical. So I think if you have that emotional intimacy, physical intimacy that's already there, you could date forever and you're still like practically married, even though you don't have the title as married. And then what happens though is society will start to judge you. Like, why are you not married? But that's just society's rules judging you. It's not really what's happening. You still have that incredible connection with your partner. So there's no difference between you and your married friends.
Girl, the pressure is real. The pressure is off the charts in your 20s. It's even more in your 30s. And then when are you going to have a kid? When are you going to have another one? And then even now, like I know, like people are going to say to me, even in my 40s, well, why aren't you guys getting married? And I think that's an internal thing as well. You just don't give a fuck. I talked about in my last episode, dumping your buckets of fucks that you're carrying around. That's definitely a fuck I don't care about. I don't care what anyone thinks about me not ever getting married again. So I agree with you. I like there is really no difference besides finances and taxes. All right. So love this question as well. Should you stay in a bad marriage?
Oh, this is a great one. I recently posted about this on Instagram too, but so many people say they'll stay. They want to keep their family together. And yes, there's a place for that. But I say stay. Again, this whole abuse thing, like you said, addictions thing, if we put that off to the side, should you stay? No, your kids pick up on that energy. They're sensitive little creatures. Even if you think you've had your fight, they still sense that something's off between mom and dad, or mom and mom, or dad and dad.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like, they are these little sponges. And the thing is, when they're under 6, their subconscious mind is like absorbing the whole world. They don't really have that analytical mind to like organize, plan, and really understand. Everything they see is truth. So you're setting them up for this incredible failure. Not really, but like you're setting up, this is what a healthy relationship looks like. Like you're the only example besides like the Disney Channel of what a relationship should be. And we all know Disney characters are also not really good examples of healthy marriages. So I say no, if it's really that toxic, you've done all your inner work to get to a place that, you know what, I've outgrown this marriage and it's time for me to move on. So that's my vote, is don't stay for the kids, because they'll be better off in their own household with each of you separate.
I felt immense guilt when I got out of my marriage, and I felt so guilty. You know, my daughter's going to have a separated home, and my parents are still together. So can't relate to that. I never understood it, but a therapist I was working with when I was getting out of my marriage, which, by the way, if you're going through a divorce, highly recommend. I have someone very close in my life right now that's going through one. And the first thing I said to him was, get a counselor, get a therapist, please. So, but she said to me, you only need one healthy parent. And I was like, you know, and she said, and Adrienne, you can't be that healthy parent when you're in an unhealthy relationship. And that hit me hard. And then I felt better because I was like, you know what? She's right. I can't be the mom that I want to be when I'm in this environment. And I'm an incredible mother now that I'm outside of that. I've grown and changed so much. So I agree. Do not stay for the kids.
Yeah, great advice.
I'm passionate about that. All right. So someone also asked, can you explain the 5 love languages?
I totally am.
Are you familiar with those?
Have you done your love language quiz?
Okay.
Okay, absolutely. I think you just go to just Google love language quiz, and there's tons of them on Google. Okay. I already know what yours are. Okay. I do. There's 5. So the first one is acts of service, which is mine. There's nothing sexier than my husband doing the dishes. And another one is words of affirmation. You just need to be told you're beautiful. Thank you so much. Another one is gifts. So those that like to have things given to them. Another one is physical touch. So obviously that's probably one of yours. And then the other one's quality time. So those are the 5. And so if you take the quiz, you'll probably have at least one that's dominant and maybe a second one. And what's great about the love languages is like mine is totally, like my husband's is physical touch. So I just have to speak his love language more, and he feels more loved. He won't feel as like resentful or unappreciated. So if I do that for him, and I do it for us, right? That physical touch piece, then he's a happier man. Right. And if he's doing the dishes for me, I'm happy. And then we're like, everything's good. Our love languages are met.
So it's good to know what yours are and also what your partners are.
Yeah. You get all your guys to take their quizzes so you know how to speak their love.
Give and get. Yeah.
Because the problem here, Adrienne, I'll just mention real quick, it's often like if mine's acts of service, I'm doing all these things for him. Like I'm making him breakfast, or I'm like doing the laundry for him. He couldn't give a shit if I'm doing that or not. Like he just wants to have sex, right? Like he wants that physical touch. So it's so important that you give your partner their love language.
So it's funny. So I definitely am an acts of service giver. That's my love language, to give. I'm going to have to take this quiz for sure. I know for sure receiving physical touch is definitely my strong point. But yeah, because I know like I'm definitely an acts of service kind of girl. I like providing, I like cooking, taking care of, and doing special things or favors for them. I got to cut back on that actually, because I kind of
there would be a belief. There's a belief.
I'm going to take that quiz.
Why am I doing that all the time? So get curious on that one. Is it for my own personal gratification, or is it that I feel more needed? Why are you doing that? And often, like I think we talked about this before. We'll get into it. Codependency. I think we talked about that. Yeah, that's why you're doing all this. Like you put your feelings off to the side, and you'd rather keep other people happy just to keep them close.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I reach like my 2-week, 3-week point where I'm like, fuck everyone. Because I'm so tired of pouring into everybody else. Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely codependent. I'm reading Codependent No More. My therapist wants me to read it again. So I'm cracking that open in my spare time, you know. All right. So this was an interesting question to me. And I'm thinking, okay. But this guy says, my wife refuses to turn bisexual. Why?
I ask him, why is it so important for you to turn bi, or for her to turn bi? Like, I'm going to ask why, but right back at you. You asked her what she wants. Like, she has her own opinion. If she doesn't want it, then close the book.
Right. I agree. Yeah. I mean, you can't expect your partner to change like that. You know. Yeah. That's. I don't think that's a compromise that can be made. You can't force your partner to be into something that they're not. So, I can't answer that question for you, buddy. Okay, the next one is, when my wife says she's okay with me being with another partner, how can I trust that she really means it? And I love this question because I have a lot of friends in the lifestyle, a lot of friends that want to start practicing ethical non-monogamy.
Yeah, I
So
think
let's talk about that.
we're going to address this, I think, in another question too, but exactly, like, make that contract. Like, what are the yeses and nos within that open marriage? If you were to be with somebody else, what is your wife okay with? Like, what are her yeses and what are her nos? And if you want, you can sign the document, have her sign it too. Like, it's a physical copy. Like, you sure you understand everything that you're okay with?
That's a good idea, Beth. That's a really good idea. Write it down. And I think you have to get extremely detailed. And if you're uncomfortable talking about the details,
Yeah,
then
it
that's a
probably means you're
problem.
not okay with it. So once you have, like, we've talked about this too. When you are in an open marriage or an open relationship, like, your communication is phenomenal. It has to be phenomenal. It has to be spot on, where you can talk about your feelings. You can talk about, like you said,
Yep.
details, because if not, someone's going to get hurt in that. So some of the best communicators are those in an open relation, like a successful open relationship.
Yeah. But that's a tough thing. I think writing it down is such a great idea, and have them sign it. Like, it is.
Totally,
it's like a love
contract.
Love that idea. Yes. Okay, so the next one is, how do you put a bipolar person in their place and make them see
I don't know if I'm qualified
others?
to answer that question, but bipolar, you have these highs and you have these lows. And I'd ask, why are you wanting to put them in their place? Like, that confuses me a little bit, why they want to put them in their place. So I think that's a story you're telling yourself. So I would go inward and maybe journal about that, do a little meditation on that one, or talk to your doctor.
I was thinking of narcissism, right? I have a lot of experience in that. And I immediately thought going gray rock. That's one of the best techniques I've ever learned. But then I thought to myself, that's a situation where I feel like that's a sign that my relationship should be over. Like, that's that abuse, that toxic environment where it's really not going to change. So I don't know. Like, that's a lot. Put them in their place.
That's not kind. Like, really, when we want to be in a marriage, everything
Right.
we want to do has to come from a place of love and kindness. If you're feeling vindictive to your partner, you got to ask yourself why. Like, what belief am I holding on to, that I deserve better, that I'm not seen, that I'm not heard, that I'm not good enough, or things aren't fair? You got to figure out what is driving that thought. Because really, you don't want to put anyone in their place. You want to send them love, being like, okay, I know that you're struggling right now, and I know this probably isn't something you're trying to do to hurt me, like your partner, and if they're in their bipolar, one of their phases. I'm going to see this with love and be there to support you and not take this personally, the way you're treating me. Or it's a boundary and next steps.
Yep. Okay, so this is the question that we were just touching on. So what's the best way to discuss rules and boundaries when opening up the marriage to other partners? And I think it's just real. I hate to take this question, but I'm thinking of Ams from Two Hot Wives podcast in my ear. Use your motherfucking words. You have to use your fucking words.
Absolutely.
And you cannot hold
there's
back.
no other way to do it. There really isn't.
Yeah, if you're going to open things up, you have to be open enough to discuss,
I think the other piece too is you have the right to put the green light go, but red light. If you get to a point you're like, oh, we didn't discuss this, or you know what, I thought I'd be okay, but now I'm not. That could be part of the discussion too. If I'm not uncomfortable, here's my code word, or whatever it is you want to, like, just stop it all. Like, when you're with all your partners, then that should be something that can be done. Everyone's in a trusting state.
And yes, and you always have a right to change your mind, So, okay, this next question. I've had weight loss surgery, and my wife makes comments like, I'm going to leave her. How do I instill her confidence and trust
That's a tricky one.
I guess he had weight loss surgery, and his wife is making comments like, you're going to leave me
now. He's the same person. Like, he's probably doing the same actions he did before, like loving her the same way. A lot of that's her own insecurities, feeling like she's not pretty enough. It could be body image for herself too, but she's feeling insecure that he's now maybe deserves better or could have better. So that's really a her issue. We got to put that one on her. She has to do some work on that one, maybe talk to a counselor or go on that journey to realize that she needs to work on her own self-worth, that she's totally deserving of her hot husband who just had this weight loss surgery. Like, he didn't marry her for looks. Like, they married each other because they loved each other on different levels. It's more than just physical. So I say send her on her own journey of, like, becoming so worthy of having the sexiest husband ever.
I love that answer. Okay, so this one's good too. What's a few quick ways I can show more appreciation for my partner?
Well, I think we gotta go to that love language, right? We gotta go back. We have to backtrack to, like, acts of service, words of affirmation. How do they want to be loved? Physical touch, quality time. Is it gifts that they want? That's how you're going to show them like affection and appreciation. Speak their love language. Give them what they want.
That is such a good tip. So if you're looking to do that, find out what their love language is and exploit the shit out of it. All right. So this is a little surprise for you, but I have a question for you, Beth. In your life, what do you crave? I like to ask my guests that, what do you crave in your marriage? It could be marriage, sex, whatever, but what do you crave?
I just crave like cuddles and kisses and just like that. I do, like, I say physical touch isn't my number one, but totally love that. Like just that connection that's more than completely just physical, but that emotional. And I like, part of me, like I love talking about feelings and why are you feeling that way? And what are your thoughts? Let's dive into it. So I do like to get a little like cheesy that way. Like, why are you feeling that? Let's talk about it. So I do enjoy like those deep talks and that stuff.
You crave that emotional intimacy. I love it. I need to work more on that. Beth, I just want to say thank you so much for being here with me and for sharing your incredible knowledge and for being out here saving marriages, saving relationships. I think over time I'll lose my cynicism because at the end of the day, I do believe in love. I do want it all. And I do think that real love is really worth fighting for. So thank you for everything today.
It's been so much
awesome
fun
chatting with you. And also, I want to say, go follow Beth on Instagram at
it's all one word.
Soulify Wellness. And you also do a free, like a phone call, like a 5-minute phone call, just to get the gist on someone's relationship or marriage. And I love that you do that. And that is on your website at soulifywellness.com.
And I have a little guide. If anyone wants this guide, it's called freemarriageguide.com. And I talk about all these little tips that Adrienne and I dove into today. So freemarriageguide.com, and you can learn more about these strategies.
I love it. All right, Beth, I'll see you later. Thanks again for being on.
Thanks, Adrienne.
You're absolutely amazing. All right, Cravers, get ready because I'm about to squirt just thinking about my next guest. Daddy Nate from Let's Shag Podcast is going to be here, and we have so much to unload. Unloading. I found Nate on TikTok a year ago, and he and I started our shows around the same time. He's kind of like my male counterpart in the podcast world. And I am so excited that we linked up, became friends, now homies, because our worlds colliding is going to be a powerful fucking thing, baby. Nate is known for his pussy eating passion, and he's full of tips and tricks. He likes playing just the tip, just like I do. And I'm thinking the whole episode is just going to be one big old just the tip. He's someone that I've wanted to have on my show for a while now, and I'm so excited. I can hardly stand it. Also, on my next episode, I think my 5-minute orgasm will just be my experience with Baywatch and the sex swing. I'm all about the sex swing right now lately. And you know what? Like, I just can't get enough of it. I can't stop thinking about it. I want to just get in it right now. Thanks for letting me share. It works if you work it. Does it ever?